Welcome to the program. The Union of Journalists has today launched a website to enhance service delivery.
Journalists can now formally register with the union online, and the public is encouraged to submit complaints or any other relevant communication through the online platform.
Now, speaking during the launch, Standard Group's Director of Innovation, Francis Munyoki, said the union had taken the right step in ensuring journalists' needs are met.
Digital migration will present a myriad of opportunities and challenges to journalists. We hope KUJ will play a key role jointly with media houses in readying its members for this transition and revolution jointly with other stakeholders to make it a success for the entire industry.
3 magistrates have been found to be unsuitable to remain in office. The Judges and Magistrates Vetting Board made the 11th announcement this morning on the performance of the Judiciary. Chaired by Sharad Rao, the board vetted 41 magistrates.
In terms of Section 23(1) of the 6th Schedule and Sections 13, 18 and 21 of the Vetting of Judges and Magistrates Act, the board unanimously determines that the Honorable Sugomo Gathogo is not suitable to continue serving as a magistrate. Honorable Maisiba Innocent Toyo. The board considered 6 complaints received against the magistrate. The board determines that the Honorable Innocent Toyo Maisiba is not suitable to continue serving as a magistrate. I now come to Honorable Orenge Isaac Karasi. The board questioned the magistrate over a salary that he continued to receive from the Lands Ministry for a period of 3.5 months after he resigned. The magistrate stated that he only worked at the Lands Office for 6 months and then joined the Judiciary. The magistrate admitted those shortcomings and stated that he was never trained on judgment writing. The board determines that the Honorable Isaac Karasi Renge is not suitable to continue serving as a magistrate.
From one arm of the government to the other, and Parliament is considering setting up a select committee to address the rising insecurity in the country. This is according to Tetu Member of Parliament Dungu Githinji, who is also the chair of the House Committee on Defence and Foreign Affairs. Now, Githinji says a special committee is required to probe the disconnect between security agencies and the apparent failure of delivery of service.
As far as there are attacks on Kenyans, certainly there are failures, and we would want to put the executive on notice that the security machinery must be tightened to the maximum. No Kenyan in this country should feel insecure, should feel threatened. No Kenyan in this country should lose their life in the manner we have been seeing in Lamu and Tana River. But at the same time, we also want the Kenyan public to be vigilant, and we want the political class also to be extra careful in their utterances.
It's been 6 years after the post-election violence, and internally displaced persons are still waiting for justice and reparation.
Right, this is according to an Amnesty International report released today. Victims are still disillusioned and frustrated that perpetrators are still at large.
Now, Amnesty International has recommended that the Kenyan government show its commitment to the process by supporting proceedings at the International Criminal Court and ending efforts to halt prosecutions in Kenya.
What we have found from our research, talking to victims directly, is that far too many victims are still waiting for justice, waiting for reparations. And this is clear and beyond doubt in the report. Worse still, not only is there complete impunity, but victims and those fighting for their human rights are facing intimidation and live in fear of reprisals, often forced into silence.
In relation to the ICC cases and the ICC proceedings, the majority of victims that we spoke to were supportive of the ICC proceedings, and these included victims from the different communities, some of whom are not included within the two cases. They don't fall within the scope of the two cases. 5 of the 49 that we spoke to had concerns with the ICC intervention. They feared that this would disrupt what they believed were government reconciliation efforts. But for the majority, the victims felt supportive of the ICC process because they have not seen any action being taken at national level.
Right, and if you thought the opposition to Kazungu Kambi, that is the Labour Secretary coming from COTU's Francis Atwoli, is over, then you're mistaken, because COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli is reviving his row with the Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi.
Now, Atwoli is accusing Kambi of shunning his duties, and he now wants the president to replace him as a matter of urgency.
Then you go before people, you say, we want to fight corruption, people must work hard, and this man is in charge of work. He is completely in charge and participates in the issues related to the world of work. As a man in charge, and he himself is not working. The Ministry of Labour is a social ministry. It's a tripartite ministry. There is no way you cannot call yourself a minister if you are not reaching to employers and workers. If you are not impressing upon policies that can attract both direct and indirect investments.
Right, and it's a similar story to what we covered a few months ago when baby Satrin was in the news following that terror attack in Mombasa. This time round, it was in a different part of the country. And the family of the 4-year-old boy who was shot last week in Mombasa is now demanding compensation.
The update that we have so far is that the boy's leg was amputated, and Najma Ismail has more details.
This was the sight that greeted us at the Bomu Hospital in Mombasa County. A 4-year-old breathing in pain, his left leg amputated after being shattered by a bullet allegedly fired by police officers on suspicion that they were terrorists.
Wakati wa kurudi wakasikia mlio wa risasi upande wa Kwahola. Sasa wanawenzi wao warudi na wao wakawa geuza gari wakawa warudia huko Changamwe. Hata hawajafika kokote upande huo wa Changamwe, nasema wakapigwa marisasi na mapolisi.
The grandmother claims that the boy had to bear the pain at the police station for over 6 hours before Red Cross officials took him to the hospital.
Sasa washamdhulumu mjukuu wangu. Sasa na mimi nataka nilipwe. Huyu mjukuu hali ni kama hii, ni mtoto wa miaka 4. Atakuwa na maisha gani namna hii? Na mimi sasa nataka msaada, hiyo serikali iangalie matatizo kama haya mtoto.
On his part, Mvita MP Abdulsamad Nasir condemned police in Mombasa for what he called unnecessary harassment of innocent residents in the name of fighting terrorism.
Mtoto mdogo amewekwa in custody for so many hours. Anauliza maswali gani ikiwa they had not suspected them, and on what basis had they suspected them?
The MP promised to take up their case in Parliament to see that the family was compensated and that the police officers were brought to book. Najma Ismail, KTN.
The Kenya Wildlife Service is introducing new incentives to promote tourism. This includes reduction of park fees and an increase in the rangers' allowances.
At a time when tourism has been at an all-time low due to terror threats that have rocked the country, prompting travel advisories being issued, the stakeholders in the sector have been trying to revive the vibrant industry in a bid to attract back tourists to sample the beauty that Kenya has to offer. And while the coastal region has been adversely affected, those in the Mount Kenya region that is also a forte for tourists because of Mount Kenya and Aberdare forests and a host of lodges that dot the area say they have put up measures to boost tourism. Robert Njoyan, Assistant Director of Kenya Wildlife Service, says for a start they have lowered park fees to attract tourists, both domestic and international.
Tallies of Amboseli National Park and Nakuru from $90 to 80.
Sentiments that have been echoed by the KWS head of the Mountain Conservation Area, Agri Maomo, who says visitors are still streaming in.
An advisory should be given in good faith, isn't it? But in our region, I think we're happy we're still having visitors who are coming in from different types of countries, and so in any case, we're not affected by that.
Very bad.
Poaching has been a real menace too that has given the authorities sleepless nights, and according to KWS, boosting the morale of the game rangers and wardens will go a long way in combating the vice.
Recently we increased the normal rangers allowance to 500 shillings per day, which translates to 15,000 per month.
The Nyeri County government and the Laikipia County government are also working together to boost tourism in the region. It is hoped that the new wildlife bill will act as a strong deterrent and keep poachers at bay.
Law has enhanced the penalties, and we have seen that becoming quite a deterrent. You have seen people now being given bonds of 2 million, 3 million in courts, and this is also helping us as a deterrent.
They, however, insist that they still want the government to boost security not just in the mountain conservation area, but in all tourism magnets in the country. Carol Derry, KTN, Nyeri County.
The British government will support Kenya in maximizing benefits from the new TULLOW oil rig operational site at Ngamia 3. Now, British High Commissioner Christian Turner visited the site accompanied by TULLOW Kenya country manager Martin Mbogo. TULLOW has already drilled 9 oil rigs in Turkana with a registered success in 8 blocks. Now, a clear indication of more oil in the area. Turkana County Governor Josephat Nanok urged the national government to improve security in Turkana South sub-county, where most of the oil sites are located.
It's fantastic to see the partnership with TULLOW in supporting you in those. I know that 2/3 of the jobs for TULLOW in Kenya go to Kenyans.
Wow, 700,000 visitors in Brazil alone in a month.
But I saw some other figures which said there could have been up to 3 point something, or it was 1 point something million.
The documented ones. The guys who were staying in decent hotels and things like that.
Possibly.
There's a lot of us who went there and they're living in the streets. So.
Anyway, it's time for a Did You Know fact. Did you know Robert G. Heft, this is a guy who designed the current United States flag. He was just 17 when he did it.
By someone?
It was designed by a 17-year-old as part of a school project. And guess what? He received a B grade for the project. Then, when the design was chosen and adopted by the presidential declaration, his teacher very promptly changed his grade to an A.
Double standards.
Double standards.
School is always unfair, don't you think?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it is, and sometimes it feels quite right. But what do I know? My name is Edith Kimani. Good afternoon.
My name is Bonitunya. Good afternoon.